guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's see this background. I like that background. I hope you guys are doing well. It's nice to see everyone. I'm not going to stay too long. I'm getting kind of exhausted. I've been working pretty much all day today. And we had actually several lives over on YouTube tonight that were really, in my opinion, good. We're just going over a lot of the information that we've gone over here. Let me just see if I can find something that'll work out a little better here. Okay, I like this one. Baseless theories. Might as well use this one. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. Happy Saturday night to you guys. So what have we been doing? We've been doing a lot of fact-finding here lately on the Sebastian Rogers case, predominantly Chris and Katie's story. We've really been honing in on just a very specific topic over the last couple days, and that's related to whether Sebastian could have and would have been capable of walking out the front door. Because outside, when we first heard this story, around day 8 was when the parents started coming to the media. We learned that they felt this child walked out the door. So we assumed that there was a reason they felt this way, had he done it before or whatever. Well, now we're 3 months into this investigation and into this case, and we're learning that the only reason why they feel that he walked out the door is because there's nothing else to explain it. Everything was locked. The windows were locked. The doors were locked. So when we look at this case, a 15-year-old running away from home doesn't sound so out of the ordinary for many of us, right? We read about it all the time. A lot of kids, I was 15 once. I'm pretty sure when I was 15, I ran away from home too. I'm just saying, So ask my mom. I got receipts, right? But it's not that. You're dealing with a child here that has a lot of disabilities, is autistic, has a chromosome deletion syndrome, has other types of things going on where it makes him not sleep very well and have sensory issues. He also has allergies to certain outdoor pollens. So, we're looking at all these things and trying to fact find whether he walked out the door. And it seems like there is a lot of weird things that appear to prevent him from leaving the home willingly. If you take a sheet of paper, and I just said this on my YouTube channel probably just a little bit ago, and you've put all of the pros on why he would walk out that door willingly, and you put all the cons on there why he wouldn't, the cons would fill up the page. It would absolutely fill up the page because you got sensory issues, you got quirky stuff like always having to wear shoes. He was just a gamer. His games, his phone, everything were left behind. He's got allergies. He's not a runner. This has never happened before. There was activity, according to the prior PI in the Sebastian Rogers case that was hired by Seth Rogers, his biological father, state that there was activity in Sebastian's room where the lights came on and off periodically from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. at night, just a few hours before there was actually light activity on the outside of the home. And then we find out that the only reason, again, Katie and Chris say that he walked out that door is because there's no other possibility of where he could have gone without implying foul play. He went to bed inside the home. She woke up and he was gone. Everything was locked. Would his sensory issues allow him to go outside in that cold of weather without shoes on, in the dark, without even his gaming system, his little switch? And then one of our audience members brought up a breastplate. And then I'll put it up on the screen, it'll be easier. A breastplate. This thing right here. This breastplate. We know when he left the home, he had pants on, black pants with a white stripe, at least according to, this is allegedly, reportedly by the parents. Pants, black pants, white stripe, black long sleeve shirt. They will happily allege and speculate that this child walked out the front door, but when you ask them, could he have possibly taken a jacket, and they'll say, well, that's speculation and assumption. We don't want to do that. But just 2 seconds before, he states that the reason why they believe that he walked out the door is not because they physically saw him walk out the door, not because there's any evidence leading them to believe that he walked out the door, just because there's no other way he could have possibly left and locked the house up. So one of the audience members talked about this breastplate. Did he wear this breastplate at night? If he wore this breastplate at night, is this breastplate missing or is it at the house? It's a great question. And then another one of our audience members brought up a very specific story. And this very specific story was a Dr. Phil story about a Dylan red wine. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this story. This was a story of a mom and dad going through a divorce. The two sons didn't have a great relationship with their father. The courts were forcing the younger son to go and spend Thanksgiving with his father, even though the mom's mother was, succumbing to cancer. She wanted her son there with her, but they had a court order, and her son wasn't with his father 24 hours before he just disappeared. And this man did absolutely nothing. So I wanted you guys to hear this beginning.
You don't think that we gave enough attention to finding Dylan yesterday?
This is Dr. Phil. He's confronting the father of a missing child, upset about how his son's case was handled on the show.
Are you kidding me? I devoted 2 hours of national television time to try to find your son, and you won't do one damn thing to help.
For 3 months, Mark Redwine refused to collaborate in this search effort to find Dylan.
I am here to find your son, and I frankly don't give a damn whether you like me or my television show. I care whether or not we find this boy, and if you've got information about where that boy is, you need to tell us.
24 hours earlier, Dr. Phil interviewed Dylan's mother, Elaine, and his brother, Corey. They, too, seemed to be convinced Mark was hiding something.
No one can find him. You were the last one to see him, and now he's just gone.
I strongly think that he's involved.
How dare you?
So, as you see, and one of the things, we're going to keep playing this because I think you guys need to hear at least the first 5 minutes of this clip, but you're going to hear a lot of things that just ring so true with Katie and Chris's behavior. Just really, really true. And again, this is not, I recognize the faces because obviously we've seen them on the news, but I forgot the whole storyline. So when I saw the faces, I recognized them because, like I said, I remember faces, but I never remembered the story that happened. But I want you guys to listen because it almost, I feel, after this story here, I feel like it is possible Sebastian is closer than we think.
You point the fingers at somebody when you have no proof.
Little did Mark know that this footage would be used as evidence by the FBI 10 years from now.
Well, I just struggle with this whole thing.
Do you know how many fathers with missing sons have ever refused to take a polygraph? Do you know how many have done what you've done? 0. You, Mark, you're it.
And Chris Proudfoot.
February 26, 2013. Elaine and Mark are on the set of the Dr. Phil show. Their son Dylan disappeared 3 months ago, and the divorced couple haven't talked since.
Well, Dylan's mother, Elaine, says nothing her ex-husband Mark says adds up, and his explanations seem suspicious.
Mark claims that on November 19th, he left home early to return around 11 a.m. Inside, he noticed that the TV was on Nickelodeon, and that Dylan's backpack and fishing pole were missing.
What?
Long story short, they ended up finding the fishing pole at his house. They ended up finding his son not too far from his father's home in the mountains. And see, this is a key thing. He told somebody, and I can't remember the details, I read it, but I told somebody, either a friend or a family member, maybe an ex-girlfriend, I can't remember, it was somebody, that if he, and it was probably just off the cuff conversation, you know. I know, to be honest with you, being in this, you guys, if you guys watch me for any significant time, you would know how I would dispose of one, right? But he said something to the effect of, if I wanted to hide remains, I would do it in the mountains. But he told somebody that, and certainly, sure enough, that's where his son was. But one of the things that I found very odd is one of the biggest complaints from Dr. Phil, one of the biggest complaints from this boy's mother, was the fact that this guy didn't go to vigils, didn't go to search parties, didn't go to any place, didn't do anything. It sounds to me a lot of the same behaviors that we are seeing in this case when it comes to Katie and Chris. And again, like I said, these are behaviors that are identified with people of guilty conscience. Because people don't act this way. And they're spending more time trying to shame the public to convince us that they've done nothing wrong than they do talking about their missing child. When they go online, when they go to these, it's for self-preservation. It's for them to feel good. It's not advocation for this child. It's not advocation for this child whatsoever. So when we're looking at that now, what I want to look at, you know, we do have the question of, thank you, Kayla. We do have the question of the breastplate. Where is the breastplate? Was the breastplate with him? Because we know no behaviors that he did that night, because Katie glossed over all of that. In all of her stories, she never told us whether he did his normal evening routines and what those evening routines were. We knew that she had talked about him being, you know, having to wear a diaper. Why she brought that up so soon, I have no idea, but she did. So did he have one on that night? Did he put his breastplate on that night? Does he need to wear it at night? And where is it? Is it at home, or is it with Sebastian along with his glasses? And why is his glasses missing when he was sleeping? Oh, that's right, because they want us to believe that he walked out of the house. I keep forgetting that. You know, Chris also made another slip, another major slip in that interview that he did. See, once upon a time, when he was on the Nancy Grace show, Nancy Grace is very thorough. She kind of knows what she wants to ask, and she asks it in a very methodical, because she's fact-finding, and it's a very methodical process, right? You start at the top, start at the beginning, and go to the end, right? It's methodical. And if you're like, well, why did they do that? You ask why. You know, it's just pretty simple stuff. And one of the things she did was she was able to go down almost a list and ask them, you know, what did you do? Did you do this? Did you do that? And so there was a point where she talks to Katie about her evening that night and what happened. And so she's talking and telling her that, you know, her son went to bed around 9 o'clock. She heard a thud around 10. She didn't go check on him, just hollered at him, you know, did you fall out of bed? No, Ma. Well, then whatever you're doing in there, go to sleep. So, you know, she asked her, well, what were you doing and everything like that. She says something about how she's studying, and she goes, well, what are you studying for? Where do you go to school? And she goes, DeVry. And so she's on the phone with Chris, and Chris tells her to get off, you know, she's fallen asleep, get off the phone, go ahead and go to bed. And she says she takes the dogs and puts them in the kennel, the cage, the crates, and goes to bed. Hey, Beach. It's nice to see you, love bug. So, puts him in the crate and goes to bed. But see, Chris said on this last interview that when he's not home, the dogs sleep in the bed with Katie. So why would this night she put the dogs in the crate? It's not normal and customary, because he specifically stated when he's not home, the dogs sleep in the bed with her. What? Can you believe what these two... I can't believe anything they say. Like I said, I don't believe anything. I mean, literally nothing that these parents say do I believe, right? But isn't that some crazy stuff? That Dylan Redwine, I think we need to get up to date. Now, that case has disturbing details that I don't think we're going to find in this case. But who knows? I mean, that was a wowzer. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to explain it here because we're on TikTok and I don't want to be barred for life because what was found, why this child, was unalived is a highly disturbing situation. Highly disturbing. Highly disturbing. When you see that face, that's never a good face.
Talks about his backpack and a fishing pole. Dylan is not a big fisher person. Dylan was not watching Nickelodeon. Dylan watched MTV. He doesn't know his kid well enough to make up a good lie.
So your son has been missing for 3 months,
Yes.
and his mother and father have not talked.
Dr. Phil, I'd like to make a comment. I personally have a lot of suspicions that Elaine could be involved in this, but I don't have anything to back that up, and I don't have anything...
Sound familiar?
Mark continued by accusing Elaine of being the mastermind behind a grand conspiracy to kidnap Dylan.
Do you honestly believe that she and a team abducted him? I was trained as a forensic psychologist, and I'm curious whether you're interested in fighting with her or if you're interested in finding your son. Because since you've been out here, you haven't said one word about your son.
Sound familiar?
Dr. Phil wasn't the only one thinking something was wrong. Behind the scenes, Dylan's brother Corey, who led the search effort, also began investigating on his own.
People are hooting and hollering in chat. We need Dr. Phil. Hey, Chris and Katie, you guys went on Nancy Grace. Would you be willing to go on Dr. Phil? He don't need a stinking polygraph. Yes, he does. We all need stinking polygraphs. When is Chris going to give us a polygraph? When is Chris going to give us a polygraph? Dog the Bounty Hunter, who we need. I wonder if Dog would get in. I hear he's in Florida. I heard he lives here in Florida. Maybe I need to go hit him up. You guys know that he was one of the very first interviews I've ever did. Did you guys know that I interviewed Dog the Bounty Hunter? I interviewed him. I don't own the interview anymore, so I can't even play the interview. I can go to TMZ and play it. But you hear me in the background too. How's your ankle? It was out in front of Cassie Laundrie's house when him and what is it, Francine? Is that her name? Franny showed up. I think that's what it was. I think that's her name. Sorry, I've been kind of disconnected from them for a while, but either way, let me just finish this up and then I'm going to let you guys go.
16, Corey was convinced he could still save him before it was too late.
It's my little brother. If anybody could make it out, it'd be him. We were not going to stop until we found the sick bastard that did that to my little brother.
Before we begin, we have a task for you. Have you ever Googled your own?
Oh yeah, that's,
Less than
let me
a
get
minute,
past
you
that.
should
That's
be
I
able-
think it's around 4 minutes. There.
Holiday visitation from his youngest son, Dylan.
He did not want to go. My mom was pretty sick with cancer, and we knew it would probably be her last Thanksgiving, and Dylan really wanted to spend it with my mom. I called my lawyer and, said, what can I do? And she said, really nothing. It's a court order. You really need to put him on the plane.
Immediately after landing, Dylan started texting his friend Ryan. From his cell phone records, we see that Mark refused to let his son meet with his friend that evening, so Dylan planned to see him the next day, unusually early, at 6:30 a.m.
So Dylan's already asserting himself to say he's there on a mandated visit, but he doesn't want to spend time with Dad.
The following day, Ryan woke up early and waited for Dylan to arrive, but he never showed up. Dylan wasn't seen by anyone during the entirety of the day. Later, in the evening, Mark
wasn't even there 24 hours. 24 hours, had to go visit, and he was gone. And his father did absolutely nothing but duck, bob, and weave everybody. Did not attend any vigils, did not attend any searches, did not attend anything. Sounds familiar. Seems like a little bit of weird behaviors, huh? Didn't cry, wasn't upset, and pissed off at everybody else. How dare us? Come to find out, he found photos of his father on his father's computer, and that is what set his father off. And his father read the story. It'll be a lot easier for you guys just to read the story in privacy. I think it'll keep us all in the good graces of the Lord. So I'll just leave it at that. If you guys would like to hear about it, it's Dylan Redwine. It is a crazy story, but I just want you guys to, yeah, Ronnie, yeah, you kind of get it. You got it. Yeah. See, many people don't realize, I like Prout. I don't like any of that weird shit, okay? If you guys do, God bless you. I don't judge. I really don't. God bless you. I just not into all that For those of you that can, do. This girl's just fine. I'm good. I remember watching it on Dr. Phil. I like Dr. Phil. I haven't watched him in a long time because I ditched the cable. I don't do cable. I do right now I'm watching, I don't even know what the hell I'm watching. I don't even listen. I just put something on here just so I have something to look up at, instead of a wall. Katie and his stepdad had to have... You know what also? One of the things that wasn't asked? What is missing from the house? There's got to be something other than this flashlight missing from the house. What else is missing from the house? Nobody's talking about what else is missing from the house. There's got to be something else missing from the house. Because I'm telling you, they're saying it's shoes. Somebody's brought up shoes. Somebody says that there has to be another pair of shoes that they didn't account for or forgot about. But there's got to be something. I just can't imagine, okay? I mean, let's play devil's advocate. Let's just play devil's advocate. If he really did get up and decide he's going to run away, he's tired of mommy and daddy, and he doesn't want to go to his daddy's house, and he doesn't want to start a new school, and he's just going to, he's grown, he's going to go do his own thing. He's going to run out of the house. He's going to run out of the house. How is he, what is his plan? If he's going to plan running away from home, what other preparation did he do? There's no clothes missing. There's no shoes missing. How can he plan and decide to go out of the house and make that conscious decision, but not make the conscious decision to grab himself a snack on the way out or a piece of candy because he's a fanatic about sugar? He's always in the pantry. He likes joking with his family and getting in the chocolate and putting the containers back empty and having chocolate all over his face. But not when he's leaving the house, not when he's running away. He's not going to take any chocolate with him when he's running away from home. He's not going to take his favorite drink with him for the road. He's not going to take his game to play. He's not capable of taking care of himself. Of course not. They were starving him. There's a lot of conversations about food. There's a lot of conversations about food. I don't think a runaway would bother locking doors on the way out either. Perfect point. Perfect point. Exactly. But you know what? He is, autistic, so they do have certain behaviors. It might be an OCD thing. Normal kids wouldn't, but again, every person that I talk to, when an autistic person has a tic, like putting on shoes, they need to put on their shoes. It's not a choice for them to put on their shoes. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Just like he's not going to get up and walk without putting on his glasses because he needs to put on his glasses. He needs to put on his shoes. There's just no, I don't know. So then the next part is, so we're kind of exhausting that argument. I personally don't believe that this child walked out of the home because of the multitude of reasons that we have, and they're building by the day. Every time Chris and Katie open their mouth, I add another thing to the list of why this child did not walk out of this home. So far, the ones that are making the cut right now on the list are sensory issues, quirky stuff like always wearing shoes, allergies, not running away, not being a runner, this being the first time that this has happened before, and the weird activity in Sebastian's room up to 11 p.m. and the activity on the outside of the home around 3 a.m. Plus, you couple that with the weird and odd behavior of the parents. So now we need to go on to the next stage of the fact finding in this matter. So we've established the one thing. Did he walk out of the home? I personally don't believe that he did. Now is going to the behavior of Katie when she found Sebastian missing. What was her behavior like? We are hearing from some body cam footage that Katie was not at the residence when law enforcement arrived there. If that is true, and we have a neighbor across the street, thanks Beach, God bless you honey, and if we have a neighbor across the street establishing she was only gone 10 minutes, wouldn't that imply, if all of those factors are true, that she would have had to leave the residence after she made the 911 call? So now, if you guys can help me with this, because this is going to be the next phase. We need to find anything and everything we can find related to statements of that morning, such as any news. We had news out there. We had the cavalry. We know we have some body cam audio footage from that morning, but we need to find out anything that talks about Katie's behavior, whether she was home when they got there, the specific, they pulled up, Katie's not there, she must be around the block, something like that. We need to find the audio of the neighbors stating how long she's been gone, and the Ring doorbell footage. We need to capture all of that, because this is going to be the next thing. What was she doing that morning? Because she says she was frantic. We're going to we're fact finding the crap out of this story. So let's talk about that morning. She says she got up at 6 a.m. to go wake her son up to get him ready for school. When she walked in there at 6 a.m., he was not in his bed. She kind of freaked out, but didn't really freak out, thought he was around, went into the kitchen, and he's not there, calls her husband. Within 3 minutes, he says, look here. She's frantic. She says her son's not in the house. She gets in her car. She proceeds to leave the house. She runs down the road. She goes to the school. She's running here. You remember the whole neck choppy thingy that she did? That's when she's saying where she's going and all this other stuff. And after he was already, what she said. It's exactly what she said, which is really bizarre that she said that. And that was in the Chronicles of Olivia interview. You can go back and fact check that as well. But How long was she gone that morning? Was she gone only 10 minutes? Because if she was gone only 10 minutes, then both Katie and Chris lied about that phone call conversation, because there is no way that she could have talked to him within 3 minutes, got him on the phone, got in her car, went down the road, went to the school, which is only a quarter mile away. That would imply that she left the house, that she was there by 6:10, 6:11, 6:12. They didn't call in law enforcement until 6:33, 6:34. Many minutes later, but the neighbors say she was gone 10 minutes. So if she was gone when law enforcement arrived at her house and she was not already there, then she left to go search for her son after she called 911, or Chris called the non-emergency dispatch line of Sumner County Sheriff. She would have had to leave after. So we need to find that out. Those are problematic issues in her story. And how did she search for him in 3 minutes? Exactly. In a 3,400 square foot home, by the way, Beach. My house is like 1,200 square feet. It's like 2.5 times my house. Like, I don't know. I mean, I could walk through my house in like a minute, but, you know, if I was searching for something, I can guarantee you it'd take me longer than that. Did Ellie check phone records? Well, Helen, we hope they did. Now, don't we? I don't know what Ellie has done. What I can tell you is it doesn't sound like they've done forensics. Doesn't sound like they did even simple fingerprinting, if you ask me, which is problematic for a crime junkie like myself. Very problematic. I don't know what they did. You know, everybody's wanting us to believe that they're doing a great job, and God, you know, bless them. I want to believe that they are, that law enforcement is doing an amazing job. You know, I want to believe that for the sake of Sebastian and the sake of this case. But just, it's the forensics not being done yet that just gives me such huge pause. You know, it just gives me huge pause as to why forensics haven't been done yet. That's my only contention, because, you know, I feel like if law enforcement was doing a great job, that would have been done by now. You know what I'm saying? And that's where my hookup is. That's where my hang up is. But you know what? What if they've done it by now? What if they have done the forensics and we just don't know it? I just don't know. I'm kind of like everybody else. I'm just losing faith in law enforcement. I really am. There's, you know, if they would have public communication or just set the community's mind at ease and let them know that they haven't, like, you haven't even heard a word from law enforcement. No press conference, no nothing. Not them even saying, guys, we just wanted to come out here. We don't really have a whole lot we can share with you. We just want to let you know we are still working on the case. We have fielded XYZ leads. We're still having the phones call every day. Just something, so we're not sitting here in the unknown. What about dash cam? Exactly. But they're never going to show us all that. That's part of the investigation. They'll only show us videos on an as-needed basis, you know, unfortunately. Thank you, Red. So, I don't know. I'm kind of just, like, I don't want to bash law enforcement because, you know, you need to have faith. But it's like, you know, in a case like this where you've got, you know, Chris being so smug and just, you know, the best part about him not being found is him not being found, you know, attitude. He makes me just angry. And then to hear him kind of being out here in social media with that dog and you know, the song and dance, it's frustrating. And then you have nothing from law enforcement. You got him out here being pompous. It just makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach, you know? So, anyways, guys, I love you. Have a great Saturday night. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed. And I don't know. Tomorrow's another day. If you guys want to join me for church, I'll be at Countryside Christian Church. You can find the link on my community tab in the morning. It starts at 9:05. I always offer a hand to anybody that wants to join. The whole coffee club goes over there and hangs out in the morning. So if you're all alone or you want to come hang out with the coffee club, please be my guest. Be my guest. All right, guys. Love you and God bless.